Alright, so let's go ahead and go over some of the mistakes that I make in this game. And I make them all the time, and I still make them, because I'm a papega. And I like doing dumb things, and I continuously do dumb things, and I'm doing one right now. It's where I'm sprinting on one character infinitely to get to a location, even though I'm aimlessly running in every direction. And now I'm about to find an enemy, oh look, and I have no stamina. So I have no way of getting away from it, and oh god, what do I do? Oh god, not like this. And I'm panicking, I'm totally fine actually. But anyways, what you basically do, the stamina in this game is a resource you really don't want to burn through too quickly. You gotta make sure that you are being really efficient with the stamina as it keeps coming. Because if you are kind of going inefficient with the stamina, you can screw yourself over really easily. Next thing that you need to know is that because the stamina is very efficient, what I just did there was called an iframe. What I do is sometimes to take an enemies is I actually take the damage instead of trying to dodge it. So if you do dodge an enemy, you can actually dodge them at the last second by just hitting the right click or your shift button at the last second right before they're about to come at. So a lot of times what I do is I mess up my iframes, and that's a big mistake I make. Third mistake, I'm going to show you how I corrected it. So one of the biggest mistakes that I made in the game early on was I was building out characters way too much in a wrong fashion. Now you can see here, against this enemy, my white damage is hitting for a pretty sizable chunk of damage. However, if I use two elements together, the amount of damage that I get is very high, and it's way higher than hitting with white damage. So one of the things that I should have done early on is trying to be focusing on elemental synergy and focusing on how I can actually boost my damage through the elements versus just focusing on shooting a character in the face over and over again. And because of that, one of the other things that I was also doing was I was just spamming on one character over and 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 over. And I'm just going to go in and try to get elements still going up and try to ramp up the elements as fast as I can on every single enemy. So if I was fighting this guy right here, what I would do is I would just hit this guy with splashes over and over and over. And that's actually the wrong tact on a lot of different spellcasters. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop a spellcast here. I'm going to drop the bird, okay? And now I'm just going to use charge attacks. The reason I'm using charge attacks is because I'm actually getting a lot bigger electro charge damage when I use the charges here. However, if I'm just using, say, the splashes here, oops, sorry. Let's go ahead and use the splashes. You can see the splashes are doing a lot less damage and the vaporizes are much lower. Versus, you'll get a little bit more hits off, but only if the actual thing that you're hitting with is going to be doing large amounts of damage as well. So what I ended up having to do is using charge attacks for a little bit more and for mages, and it got me a little bit more damage. Another mistake I make all the time is when I'm climbing, I end up jumping to go a little bit faster on the rock. But if I get all the way to the top and I ran out of stamina, I'm going to fall all the way down. So I got to make sure I have just enough stamina to make sure that doesn't happen. Damn it, did it again. I can make it. It's fine. It's fine. I can make it. No! Another thing your boy does something that's super dumb is he doesn't mark his interactive map. What is the interactive map, you say? Genshin Impact world map. And it's an interactive world map. What you can do is when you find a specific one of these animalculouses, you can actually click this and say, mark as found. Very, very helpful tool for all players. You definitely should be using this. It is a lifesaver. Link to this in the description below. And the reason it's super helpful is there is a quest that does involve you finding every single one of these Geoculuses. And what you're going to need to do is unlock each one of these pillars. You notice all the pillars over there look very, very different. And if I go to this last pillar here, it looks slightly different than all the rest. I'll show you again. All right, and the reason it looks slightly different than all the rest is because I need to unlock it. So if I go up to the top of the pillar here, on this side here, you'll notice this little face. And this face requires me to put something in it. The thing I gotta put inside it is what's called a remembrance break seal. So, Sekapoko, I am very curious. What is a remembrance break seal? Well, if you go over to this thing, it's called the Shrine of the Seven, or the Statue of the Seven. Now, at the Statue of the Seven, you can worship the statue and turn in the Geoculuses. Once you turn in the Geoculuses, bam, it fills up the meter. But I still need to turn in 21 of these, and I have no idea where the last 21 are. And because I didn't spend time on the interactive map to do this, I did not acquire the last Stone of Remembrance to finish the quest that I was talking about that requires the Oculuses. So if you do want to get that last quest done and open the secret tomb of godliness that I don't even know what's in it, because I still need 21 more, and I have no idea where they are, make sure you use the interactive map. It'll be a lifesaver. The next thing that I do that was super Pepega was I leveled up arts I shouldn't. So when I first started, I didn't realize that each art had a specific art set, and they also had sub-arts, the art subsets that were really good. And I was focusing like, oh, I got a 4-star one, I should focus the 4-star one. I got a better one. Oh, that's a set bonus for the 4-star one. That's an upgrade. But I didn't actually look over here at the main stat, and that's a huge issue that a lot of new players do. Basically, what happens is that each one of these main stats has a specific role here, and each one of these can be for the last 3. The first 2 are going to be HP and attack, which are going to be this flower over here, flower of life, and the second one's the plume of death. The next one's going to be the sands of Eon, goblet of Eonthom, and finally the circlets of Logos. Now, each one of these last 3 are going to have a randomly rolled substat or main stat. Well, this will be the main stat, this will be the substat. It'll make it easy for y'all. Okay. So the main stat on this piece right here is going to be defense plus 7.9%. Now, if I go into this one has attack 6.3%. Go to this one, also attack 6.3%. Go to this one, it has HP. Now, all 3 of these are the same piece, but you can see that the role is different. Now, each one of these can have very different ones like energy recharge rate. They could have elemental mastery. There's a lot of cool things there. Over here, you can have physical damage bonus, elemental damage bonus, I believe, on here. Specific elemental damage bonus. You could have attack bonuses, HP bonuses, and over here you can have attack and HP bonuses, but you can also get crit rate, crit damage, and elemental mastery, I believe. So there's a bunch of different bonuses, and healing bonuses as well, but a bunch of different bonuses that you can get on this main stat. And what I was doing was I went around and I was just leveling every single piece, and I like ended up leveling this piece right here, got it to like 20 plus 9, and I ended up getting like a really like high rolled main stat on HP on a piece that I should have had no business leveling up. I should never have leveled this up. What I should have done is actually gone down to the 3-star arts down here. And if I had a better version like this one right here that had a 5.2% attack roll, I should have gone for that if it was of the correct set. That's what I should have done. And I've had many pieces that I've destroyed that I didn't check first for 3 stars. The 4-star pieces that don't have the good roll, I really should have just destroyed, done something else different with, but I ended up keeping them, upgrading them, and wasting a lot of mora on these pieces. And I just want to let you guys know that I've done that, just to let you know, because it's now I know better, and now I'm upgrading the right pieces. But I did spend a ton of mora upgrading those things. The next thing that I didn't do is I didn't level up my talents when I first had the option. Now, one of the reasons that I didn't know about it is you don't actually unlock this until a little bit later. So you actually, if we go to, let's say, Kaya, and Kaya, if I go to talents, I'll say, okay, I want to upgrade your talents. Oh, I need to be up to character phase 2. But what I didn't know, and what I'll tell you right now, is what you need to upgrade these. And I actually wasn't farming these at all. I didn't really think about it. They said I'll do it when I do it. And because I waited, there's a couple characters that I'm missing these things on now, and I'm like, oh man, I really want to level these characters up. I want to get them maxed out, but I'm still just missing the books. Now the books, of course, will drop out of these special dungeons that you can do every single day, but they rotate between specific dungeons. So of course, if you don't wait for them, then you're going to have a little bit of an issue. Because right now, this is the book that's dropping out of this dungeon, but if I go to the Change Daily, you'll notice that the other book that I do need for that character is right here, and the other book I need for official is right here. So I have to wait a few days in order to get the right book. So, kind of a bummer that do that, and I shouldn't do it. All right, so the next thing I did was a super foolish thing. Now, in your daily stamina, you have a fixed amount of stamina per day, and what I did really early on in the game was I was going around to these ley lines, and I was go up here, and we go, okay, cool, I'm just gonna go all the way up, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna go to the next one, because that's the last quest I can do, let's just go over there, that'd be fine, right? It'll be a good idea to do this. And I would just go over to the ley line quest and start them. And if you didn't know, the ley line quest that I'm going to right now will cost original resin stamina, which is your daily stamina. And I ended up like farming like a few hundred stamina worth of these ley lines because I was just like running around because like, oh, this is easy experience. I can just do this. And it just cost this original resin stuff. I wonder what that is. I didn't even know what the daily stamina was at that time. And because it cost 20 stamina to do these ley lines, I just burned through tons of stamina. I had a bunch of stamina refills that I burned through trying to do these, and I just wasted a ton of stamina refills. And because I wasted all those stamina refills doing these quests that I really had no business in doing repeatedly, and I should have been looking for chests and other things, I ended up using a lot of the resources that I needed so that I could continue to progress in the game. And some of the things being Mora, some of the things being resources for weapons, some of the things for other materials, etc. And I don't know why that dude's taking damage. Like you just standing in the fire, like, bro, like you just stood in the fire the whole time. All right, hold on, I'm gonna help you out, bro. I feel bad for you. Okay.
Let me scry.
Okay. Anyways, that was distracting me, but what I really want to tell you guys, just don't burn your stamina on these ones. The reason you don't want to burn your stamina on these ones is because they drop adventure experience manuals. And the reason I don't think you're going to want to farm these is because if you do farm these, you don't need a ton of adventure experience manuals from the ley lines. You're actually going to get a ton of them just going throughout the map, exploring the map, and doing them for quests. What you should be using them on, of course, is for Mora, weapon upgrades, things like that you actually will need to progress your account. The character XP, in my opinion, is the lowest priority because character XP you can actually get in so many other ways. One of the biggest ways that you can get it, of course, is by just getting the chests that you see around the map. They randomly will contain all the ones that you actually do need. So my opinion on this is that don't farm the specific ley lines. Go for the ones with either Mora or go for the bigger bosses like the Cryo Regisvines. Those ones are like a really good for adventure XP, get you the materials for ascension for your characters, can get you artifacts for your characters, etc. There's a ton of other things that you should be doing with your stamina per day that is not these, in my personal opinion. And because we're talking about XP, there is something that I did that was not super intelligent, but you do have to do eventually. And I ended up spending a lot of resources leveling a bunch of different characters that I really had no business in leveling. I should have just focused the first 4 and then focused up to 8 for moving further and further into the, the Spiral Abyss. And because I spread them around a little bit too much, focused my more on artifacts, my progression was stalled a little bit, and I didn't have a clear direction I should have focused, which really slowed down my pacing. So what I should have done is focused on characters that I really wanted to build out, and focus on their artifacts, etc., and just focus more on like 1 or 2 units initially, and then spread them out to 3 or 4, and kept going from there. But because I spread them out onto many different units, because I was testing and trying a bunch of things out, I screwed myself over and I didn't have enough resources, kind of got stalled out in the leveling phase. So please keep your resources on a few characters, 1 or 2 characters at the start, so you can transition between those 2 characters for elemental synergies and then progress to other characters. A mistake that I haven't made yet, but I wanted to like put it out for you, is some people end up using the 12-hour version of this. And whenever you're doing a character expedition, it's something you can do every single day. You can send out up to 4 of these on your characters. Some people end up going for the 12-hour one, where you get white iron chunks and you get a little bit more white iron chunks, but you get less crystals. Now, in my opinion, it's way better to have crystals than it is white iron chunks, because white iron chunks are way more plentiful, very much a little bit easier to find, and are all over the map. Whereas crystal chunks are a little bit harder to find and much harder to destroy because they require either a character with a claymore or a character with Geo to kill quickly. And if you don't use either of those characters to kill those crystals, it takes forever. So I end up going with a 20-hour one, but if you feel like you don't need as many crystals because you're using a character with a claymore all the time and you're actually able to break them down, use the 12-hour one. So just don't make the mistake that you're actually doing the right or the wrong one. Another mistake I use with stamina all the time, which is just something stupid that I do, is I just constantly run around the map looking for different things, and I don't watch my stamina bar. It's being depleted as we speak, and I'm not even looking at it because I just want to get around the map a little quicker. So then I end up jumping off a building, and oh no, I'm out of stamina. But if I end up using a left click, what happens is I don't die. I actually take a much reduced amount of damage, even from the maximum height of using left click. Now, what's really cool is that if you wanted to, you can actually take 0 damage when you fall. It's really cool. So normally, if you were going to fall off this cliff here, it would be instant death if you were to fall, say, on the actual ground, which I'm about to do. But what you can do is right before you hit the ground, left click, boom, 0 fall damage. So if you want to time it, you can actually take 0 fall damage. It's a little bit easier that way to do. Just make sure to left click before you hit the ground so you don't take fall damage. All right, for swimming, one of the things I didn't know early on is that there are certain characters in the game, like Mona, and there's actually another character that I won't spoil for you, that can swim on water. And because you can swim on water, there's lots of cool things that you can get out of it, like, you know, geo sigils like I'm getting right now. Really cool. But one of the things that does happen when you're swimming, of course, is that you burn a ton of stamina. But for characters like Mona, when you drown, it's uber sad because you're a water character. No. Another silly thing I forget to all the time is I forget to heal. Because I don't like making food or using food. So I use a healer on my team so I don't have to do that. So I use a healing skill and then transfer between characters before I go into a fight. But a lot of times I'll forget, not look at my HP, and then I'll be dead. So, just as a pro tip, make sure you heal up. But that's going to be it for the video. My name is Sekapoko. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just there's a lot of memes sprinkled in, so of course a lot of these mistakes, of course, are very, very easy to avoid, and many of them are a little bit weirder. And hopefully this video will help you out a little bit. So again, thanks for watching. Have a great day, guys. Peace.